Have you ever felt out of place in a crowd? Like no matter how many people surround you, you still feel utterly alone? Have you wondered why your soul craves silence and solitude in a world obsessed with noise and connection? If you are a chosen one, called by God for a unique divine purpose, this experience is more than just coincidence. It is a sign, a sacred invitation to something greater. In today's fast-paced, popularity-driven world, being surrounded by people is often equated with success and happiness. Social media, gatherings, and constant interaction are celebrated as markers of a fulfilled life. But what if the very essence of your calling requires stepping away from the crowd into a season of quiet preparation? What if solitude is not your enemy, but your greatest spiritual ally? By the end of this message, you will discover why being alone is essential for chosen ones. You'll hear the inspiring story of Matthew, a man who embraced his divine calling through solitude. And you'll learn how you too can transform your solitude into a powerful source of strength, clarity, and spiritual breakthrough. The calling to be chosen is a sacred and heavy responsibility. It sets you apart like a beacon of light in a dark world. Like Joseph's coat of many colors, your distinctiveness shines. But it also draws misunderstanding, envy, and sometimes rejection. Imagine walking through life speaking a language others cannot understand. They look at you but don't truly see you. They hear your words but fail to grasp your vision. This is not a reflection of your failure, but of your unique appointment. The mantle of the chosen one is not something everyone is qualified to bear or comprehend. Solitude, then, is not punishment or isolation. It is preparation. It is the furnace in which God refines your character, your faith, and your destiny. Just as Jesus withdrew to quiet places to pray and recharge his spirit, you too must step away from the noise of the crowd to connect deeply with your Father. Jesus' life teaches us a profound lesson. Even the Son of God needed solitude. After feeding 5,000 people, when the crowds clamored for more miracles and attention, he slipped away quietly. He understood that fleeting human applause could never replace the eternal power found in God's presence. This is why your soul's craving for solitude is not a sign of weakness, but of divine wisdom. The world may label you strange or antisocial, but God calls you chosen. The more you learn to embrace quietness, the more you'll realize that it is in these sacred spaces that your anointing grows stronger. Let me share with you the story of Matthew, a man whose life exemplifies what it truly means to be chosen and why solitude was his greatest gift. From a young age, Matthew sensed he was different. While his peers chased fleeting pleasures, social approval, and worldly success, Matthew was drawn to quiet places where he could seek God's voice. He wasn't interested in fitting in. Instead, he sought purpose. As he grew, Matthew's calling became clearer. He was destined for a success, measured not by applause, but by divine favor. His vision was to be a light in the darkness, a leader whose influence reflected God's glory. But with this calling came isolation. Friends and family couldn't understand why Matthew preferred solitude over social gatherings, or why his focus seemed distant from the world's ambitions. Yet Matthew remained steadfast. He embraced the quiet seasons, knowing that God was shaping him in the unseen moments. The solitude purified his heart and sharpened his faith. Through trials and silence, he grew into the man God intended him to be. Eventually, Matthew's obedience bore fruit. His success was undeniable, not because he chased after it, but because he faithfully walked the path God had set. He led with integrity, spoke with wisdom, and impacted lives deeply. His journey wasn't about building an empire, but about fulfilling a divine mandate. Matthew's story reminds us that true success is rooted in faithfulness, not popularity. It is cultivated in the quiet moments when the world's applause fades away, and only God's voice remains. In today's world, being busy and surrounded by people is often seen as a sign of success and fulfillment. However, for those who are chosen by God, constant exposure to crowds and distractions can be detrimental. Your spirit is like a precious vessel, meant to carry a unique anointing that requires protection and focus. Not every voice around you is meant to influence your journey. Some conversations bring doubt, confusion, or pressure that can pull you away from the path God has laid out for you. The noise of many people often clouds your spiritual clarity and weakens your resolve. To walk confidently in your calling, you must guard your heart and mind, choosing carefully whom you allow into your inner circle. Jesus demonstrated this truth during his earthly ministry. Despite being surrounded by disciples and followers, he often withdrew from even his closest friends to spend time alone with the Father. The weight of his destiny demanded moments of separation, where distractions gave way to divine clarity and strength. Similarly, as a chosen one, you cannot afford to remain constantly engulfed by the world's noise. There will be seasons when you must intentionally step back, even from those closest to you, to preserve the focus and purity required for your mission. Embracing this solitude is not rejection. It is essential preparation for the great work God is calling you to do. Solitude is far more than physical separation from others. It is a sacred spiritual space where profound transformation takes place. When you enter the secret place of God's presence, you open yourself to his refining work. In these quiet moments, he peels away layers of doubt, fear, and old habits that hold you back, preparing you for a higher purpose. Just as a skilled gardener prunes a tree to encourage healthy growth, God uses solitude to cut away what is dead or unfruitful in your life. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is necessary. The pruning clears the way for vibrant new life to flourish, deepening your roots in faith and strengthening your spiritual character. In the secret place, distractions fade, and your heart becomes fully attuned to God's voice. Here, transformation happens through the renewing of your mind and the anchoring of your soul in truth. This season of stillness is not passive waiting, but active preparation, a time when God's Spirit works deeply within you, equipping you for the path ahead. Embracing solitude means trusting that God is doing a vital work inside you, even when the process feels slow or uncertain. It is in these hidden moments that your foundation is laid, your vision sharpened, and your faith fortified. The secret place is where heaven and earth meet, and your spirit is made ready to fulfill the divine calling placed upon your life. Throughout the Bible, solitude is shown as an essential part of God's preparation for those he calls. Many of the greatest leaders and servants of God experienced seasons of being alone, where their purpose was clarified and their faith strengthened. Consider Moses, who met God alone in the wilderness at the burning bush. It was in this quiet and solitary moment that God revealed Moses' divine mission to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Moses' encounter shows us that solitude is often the birthplace of God's calling. David, too, spent long periods alone, tending sheep away from the palace and the people, before he was anointed king. These solitary times cultivated humility, patience, and dependence on God, shaping him for the immense responsibility ahead. Jesus provides the ultimate example. Though surrounded by crowds and disciples, he regularly withdrew to solitary places to pray and seek the Father's guidance. In the Garden of Gethsemane, before his greatest trial, Jesus chose solitude even from his closest friends to align fully with God's will. These biblical stories teach us that solitude is not abandonment, but divine appointment. It is in these quiet seasons that God prepares his chosen ones, deepening their relationship with him and equipping them for their unique callings. At first, solitude may feel like a burden, a season of loneliness, rejection, or delay. But when you understand its true purpose, it becomes a blessing. In the quiet, God reveals your true identity and purpose. Your faith is strengthened, your vision clarified, and your spirit fortified. The silence becomes a sacred space for divine conversation and revelation. The enemy may whisper lies, telling you that you are isolated because you are broken or forgotten. Reject those lies. Your solitude is a sign that God is doing something powerful within you. You are being set apart, sanctified, and elevated for a purpose far greater than you can imagine. If you feel the gentle call to step away from the noise and crowds, do not resist it. Embrace this season of solitude as a sacred opportunity to deepen your relationship with God. Use this time to pray earnestly, seeking his guidance and peace amid the quiet. Reflect on the unique calling he has placed on your life, allowing his vision to take clearer shape. Journaling your thoughts and revelations can help you track your spiritual growth and remain focused. It is equally important to protect your heart by avoiding distractions and influences that divert your attention from God's plan. Remember, solitude is not a pause, but an active season of preparation. God's timing is perfect, and what feels like waiting is His way of equipping you fully. When the moment arrives, you will return renewed, stronger, wiser, and ready to walk confidently in your divine purpose. Chosen one, remember this. The season of solitude you are walking through is not a sign of abandonment, but a divine process of preparation. In the quiet, unseen moments, God is shaping you, strengthening your spirit, and equipping you for the glorious purpose He has destined for your life. When this season ends, you will rise with renewed power, wisdom, and clarity, ready to fulfill your calling with confidence and grace. Your journey may feel lonely at times, but take heart. God is always with you, working behind the scenes to bring forth a testimony that will inspire and impact many. The glory that awaits you after this quiet season is greater than any applause or recognition the world can offer. Thank you for joining me in this moment of reflection and encouragement. If this message has touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll be part of a growing community seeking to walk boldly in God's purpose. Don't forget to like, share, and stay connected for more inspiring content. May God bless you abundantly as you embrace the journey ahead. Have you ever felt like your life was set apart? As if there was something different about your journey, something deeper tugging at your soul? You're not alone. This isn't a coincidence. If you've been carrying questions in your heart, why do I feel so different? Why do I face battles others don't understand? Why do I feel drawn to something I can't quite name? Then hear this truth. You were chosen, not just created, but called. There's a divine design over your life, a holy calling marked by purpose, pain, preparation, and power. The Bible is filled with people who were called before they even knew who they were. And like them, you too may already be walking the path of the chosen, without fully realizing it. Today, we're going to reveal 7 unmistakable signs that God has placed His hand on your life. If these signs resonate with your story, then be encouraged. Your journey is not random. Your trials are not wasted, and your purpose is far greater than you can imagine. Sign 1. A deep, unshakable sense of purpose. Do you ever sense that you were born for something greater? Something beyond the ordinary patterns of life? While others seem content chasing comfort, your heart craves meaning. There's a longing inside you that refuses to settle, a quiet but constant voice whispering, "You were made for more." That's not imagination, that's calling. This persistent inner pull isn't just a personality trait. It's a sign that God has marked your life with divine purpose. In Jeremiah 1:5, God declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This means your identity and assignment were spoken into existence long before you took your first breath. Consider Joseph. As a young man, he dreamed of leadership and influence, but his journey was filled with betrayal, slavery, and prison. Still, the dream remained. It never faded, because it wasn't his. It was God's vision for him. And in time, that purpose was fulfilled beyond anything he could have imagined. If your spirit feels restless in the ordinary, if purpose keeps calling even in your lowest moments, take heart. That unshakable yearning is the first and clearest sign. You were chosen for something extraordinary. Sign 2. You face fierce spiritual battles. When you carry divine purpose, opposition becomes inevitable. The battles you face aren't random. They're spiritual. The moment you step closer to your calling, resistance rises. It can come through betrayal, unexpected losses, or seasons of hardship that seem impossible to explain. But here's the truth. If the enemy is fighting you fiercely, it's because your life is a threat to darkness. Story reminds us of this reality. After receiving dreams from God, he was met not with applause, but with betrayal. Thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned without cause, his path looked like anything but destiny. Yet behind every setback was a setup for something greater. The enemy tried to bury him, but God used every attack to elevate him. The same might be true in your life. The pressure you've felt, the spiritual weight you carry, even the silent battles no one sees, they all point to a deeper truth. You are chosen, and the enemy knows it. Remember, the battle isn't a sign of abandonment. It's confirmation of your calling. When the warfare intensifies, it means your breakthrough is near. Stand firm. You're not alone. Heaven is fighting for you. Sign 3. A pull toward righteousness. You can't explain. No matter how far you wander, something keeps pulling you back to God. You've tried to fit in. You've chased what the world calls success. But in your heart, you know, it's not enough. That discomfort you feel in sin, that restlessness and compromise, it's the voice of the Holy Spirit, relentless in his pursuit of you. King David failed. He fell hard. Adultery, deception, even murder. But what made him different wasn't perfection. It was conviction. In Acts 13:22, God still called him a man after my own heart. Why? Because when you are chosen, you can't stay in rebellion. Your spirit grieves when you walk away from God. His love refuses to let you go. You've seen this in your life. The nights you cried, the times you tried to run, the moments you wanted to quit, yet grace caught you. That tug toward righteousness, even in your weakness, is not normal. It's a holy mark. It's proof that you are His. Sign 4. Miraculous provision in impossible moments. There are moments in life when, by all logic, you should have fallen apart. You didn't have the answers, the resources, or even the strength to keep going. But somehow, you did. Doors opened when you had no key. Help came when no one knew you were in need. These moments aren't coincidences. They are divine interventions. When God chooses someone, He also provides for them. That doesn't mean the road is easy, but it does mean you will never walk it alone. God's provision often shows up in unexpected ways, not as abundance, but as just enough to keep moving forward. Consider Elijah in 1 Kings 17. In the midst of famine, with no food or water in sight, God sent ravens to feed him. When the brook dried up, He led Elijah to a widow whose tiny supply miraculously never ran out. God didn't remove the hardship, but He sustained him through it. Look back over your life. The bills that somehow got paid, the opportunities that appeared when all seemed lost, the people who showed up right on time. These aren't small blessings. They're signs that God's hand is on you. Where there is purpose, there will always be provision. Sign 5. You feel the burden of others deeply. There's something different about the way your heart responds to the world around you. While others can turn a blind eye to suffering, you feel it deeply. Pain that isn't your own often weighs on your spirit. You see someone hurting, and it lingers. You hear of injustice or loss, and it stirs something in you that won't let you stay silent. This compassion is more than empathy. It's evidence of a calling. Those who are chosen often carry the heart of God. They don't just observe brokenness. They are moved to act, to pray, to weep, to stand in the gap for others. Nehemiah is a powerful example. Though he lived in privilege as the king's cupbearer, his heart broke when he heard Jerusalem's walls were in ruins. He wept, fasted, and prayed, not because he had to, but because he was called. You may have felt this too, praying for people who never asked, giving even when it cost you, or feeling spiritually stirred by things that others overlook. That burden is not weakness. It's a sacred trust. When you carry the weight of others with love and compassion, you're not just feeling, you're reflecting the very heart of God. Sign 6. Divine separation from certain people. There are moments when people leave without a trace. Could there be a deeper purpose behind it? People you once trusted drifted away. Friendships faded. Opportunities vanished. At first, it may have felt like rejection, but in truth, it was protection, a divine separation, not to harm you, but to prepare you. When God chooses someone, He doesn't just call them, He also clears the path for their calling. And sometimes, that means removing people who can't go where He's taking you. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next season. Some would distract you, delay you, or even derail you from your purpose. Moses had to leave the palace before he could lead a nation. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, but that betrayal positioned him for elevation. What looked like abandonment was actually alignment, God placing him exactly where he needed to be. You may not understand the losses right now. You may grieve the friendships that faded or the connections that broke. But one day you'll look back and realize, every closed door was a step forward. When God removes, He's also making room. Separation isn't the end, it's the beginning of something greater. Sign 7. You've been attacked but never defeated. You've been through storms that should have broken you. There were moments when the pain was too much, when the betrayal cut too deep, when the pressure almost crushed your spirit. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still believing. That's not by accident, that's evidence. The enemy has thrown everything at you, through circumstances, people, even your own thoughts. He's tried to wear you down, silence your voice, and make you question your worth. But no matter how fierce the battle, you've never been destroyed. Why? Because God's hand has never left you. The Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 4:8-9, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed." That's the life of the chosen. Attacked but never defeated. Wounded but still worshiping. Look at Job. He lost everything, but his story didn't end in ashes. It ended in restoration, in double blessing. Your survival is not weakness, it's proof of God's power. If you're still standing, it means God isn't finished. What's ahead is greater than what's behind. Your endurance is the final and most powerful sign. You are chosen, and your story is far from over. If you've seen your reflection in these 7 signs, if your heart whispered yes while listening, then know this truth deep within your soul. You were never meant to live a life of mere survival. You were chosen for more. Your pain has had a purpose. Your battles have built strength. Your longing for something greater wasn't a dream. It was a divine reminder of your calling. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Heaven has seen every tear, heard every prayer, and marked every step. Now is the time to stop doubting and start walking boldly in who you were created to be. You are not just going through life. You are being prepared to change lives. What God has started in you, He will bring to completion. And if this message spoke to your spirit, if you felt seen, understood, or even awakened, thank you for watching. You are part of a growing community of people stepping into their divine purpose. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment about which sign resonated with you most, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss another message that speaks life into your journey. Your story is just beginning. Stay close, stay faithful, and never forget, you were chosen for something far greater. What if I told you that silence is not weakness, but one of the most powerful spiritual weapons available to God's chosen? In a world obsessed with sharing every moment, every success, every thought, those who walk with God must learn the sacred art of holding back. There is profound strength in holy silence. It is not just a practice of discretion, it is an act of faith. Silence conceals, protects, and preserves the treasures God deposits in the hearts of His people. To remain silent is not to hide in fear, but to guard the holy with reverence. This message is not for the masses. It is for the few, the ones set apart, chosen, marked by God for a purpose that stretches beyond what eyes can see or ears can hear. If you are among those chosen ones, this message is for you. Let us walk together through 5 sacred areas of life that must remain veiled in discretion if you wish to preserve the anointing and calling on your life. Let's begin with the first. 1. Your future plans and divine dreams. Proverbs 29:11 says, "A fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds them back." When God places a vision in your heart, it is like a seed planted in secret. It requires time, nurturing, and protection to grow. Yet many rush to announce the promise before it has taken root. Your dreams are not just ideas, they are divine assignments. The enemy, limited though he is, works by inference. He listens, watches, and calculates based on what we say and do. When you speak prematurely about the future God has shown you, you expose it to spiritual sabotage. Mary, the mother of Jesus, received one of the most extraordinary revelations in history. And what did she do? She pondered it in her heart. She carried the promise silently until the fullness of time. There's a lesson there for us all. Dreams in their early stages are fragile, like infants that must be kept warm, fed, and hidden from harm. When you speak too soon, you invite skepticism, misunderstanding, or envy from those who neither see your vision nor understand your calling. Learn this discipline. Silence until strength. Privacy until preparation. Trust that what God births in secret, He will reveal in power when the time is right. In the meantime, let prayer be your platform, not people. Speak to the Lord about your dreams, not to the world. Let His timing, not your anxiety, determine when the vision is ready to be shared. 2. The inner life of your family. 1 Peter 4:8 reminds us, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. Your family is your first ministry. Your spouse, your children, your parents. These relationships are sacred ground. Yet today, many broadcast every argument, every flaw, every struggle to strangers who neither care nor help. The chosen must protect their homes like a fortress. What happens within your walls is not meant for the world. Every family will go through storms, disagreements, and seasons of struggle. But not every storm needs to be televised. Do not air your pain for public sympathy. Do not offer your loved ones as fodder for gossip. People will judge what they don't understand, and worse, they'll speak death over what God is trying to heal. The enemy is always looking for a crack in your household to sow division. Don't hand him the blueprint. Instead, be discerning. Seek counsel only from those who are spiritually mature, trusted, and anchored in confidentiality. Often the most redemptive conversations happen behind closed doors, soaked in prayer, rather than over digital platforms. Think of Joseph. When he learned Mary was with child, he chose to handle the matter privately. And because of that choice, God visited him with clarity. Privacy creates space for divine intervention. Family matters require grace, wisdom, and discretion. Your silence may be the soil in which healing and restoration take root. 3. Your early breakthroughs and victories. Proverbs 21:5 teaches, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." There is something intoxicating about victory, especially when it comes after a long wait. A new job, a business breakthrough, a prophetic word fulfilled. It's only natural to want to share it. But for the chosen ones, restraint is wisdom. Your first breakthrough is not your final arrival. It is a foundation, not a fortress. Speaking too soon can invite resistance you're not yet prepared to handle. Enemies awaken. Envy stirs. The spotlight you seek may expose you to pressures your faith hasn't matured to manage. Look at King David. After slaying Goliath, he did not crown himself king overnight. He remained under authority, waiting, growing, hiding in caves, until God opened the throne room to him. Premature exposure can kill potential. What begins in celebration can end in sabotage if you haven't learned the virtue of timing. Establish your roots before you reveal your fruit. A tree that bears fruit too early may be broken by the wind. So let your growth be proven. Let your success deepen in silence, and when you speak, let it be from a place of unshakable maturity. This is not about hiding blessings. It's about guarding them until they are strong enough to bless others. 4. Your financial standing and possessions. Proverbs 13:11 declares, "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." In an era where worth is measured in likes and luxury, God calls His chosen to a higher standard, quiet stewardship. Never boast about your earnings, investments, or material gain. Such talk not only invites envy, but exposes you to unnecessary spiritual and legal warfare. Lawsuits, manipulation, greed, even theft, follow those who parade their prosperity without discernment. Let your financial journey be one of humility. Prosperity in God's kingdom is never about show. It's about trust, responsibility, and impact. When God blesses you financially, He does so not to elevate your ego, but to expand your ability to give, to build, to support others in secret. Real wealth in the kingdom is not just what you have, but what you can release without fear. Avoid the snare of ostentation. Live simply, give generously, and manage privately. Even among family, be cautious. Not every relative understands stewardship, and sometimes sharing too much can lead to strained relationships or false expectations. The wise quietly build, invest, and grow, not for recognition, but for responsibility. Let your bank account be between you and your God. 5. Your sacred encounters with the divine. Matthew 7:6 warns, "Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine." Some moments are too sacred for words. A dream from God, a prophetic whisper, a vision in the night, an angelic encounter. These are holy deposits, not content for casual conversation. Paul, in 2 Corinthians 12, spoke of revelations so profound, he said they were unspeakable. John, the Revelator, was commanded to seal up what he heard from heaven. And Mary again kept her angelic visitation to herself, until it was time. Why? Because not every ear is pure. Not every heart is ready. Sharing spiritual encounters with the wrong audience can invite ridicule, misinterpretation, or even spiritual attack. Some revelations are still developing, like a child in the womb. Premature exposure can damage what was meant to be nurtured. So wait. Incubate the vision. Let the experience transform you before it informs others. God will show you when and with whom to share your encounters. Until then, keep them tucked in your spirit. Silence is not shame. It is reverence. Your intimacy with God is your greatest treasure. Protect it like a hidden jewel. In a world that treats the sacred as spectacle, your silence speaks volumes. In a world that urges us to be seen, heard, and praised, there is quiet strength in remaining hidden. For those chosen by God, silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the shield that guards your calling, the soil where dreams take root, and the space where faith matures without distraction. When you keep sacred things tucked safely in the secret place, you are not withholding out of fear but honoring what is holy. The more God entrusts to you, the more He calls you to protect it, not with pride, but with reverence. Hidden seasons are not wasted. They are sacred preparations for what's to come. So hold your vision with care. Guard your family in love. Celebrate victories with humility. Steward your resources in silence. And treasure your divine encounters with awe. In due time, what is done in secret will bear fruit in the open. If this message spoke to your spirit, I invite you to become part of this growing community. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your presence here means more than you know. Thank you for walking this path of wisdom and faith with us. May you be richly blessed in every hidden and holy place of your life.